Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar titled Harnessing the Power of Heavy Equipment Data. Before we really jump into things here, just a couple of housekeeping items that we'd like to touch base on before we really jump into everything. If you haven't joined audio yet, please, as you can see here, you can do it through your computer or you can dial in. And there will be a recording of today's webinar that will be sent out with contact information following the completion. I will be hosting this today with Danny Goldstein, our Director of Solution and Sales Engineering. I myself am a strategic account manager here for Teletrac Navman. And before we really get into the topic at hand, a couple of things we wanted to just cover about Vontier, our parent company, and then get into some details about ourselves here at Teletrac Navman. Vontier is an industrial technology company that's really focused on smarter transportation and mobility solutions. Now, Teletrac Navman is part of Vontier, obviously, made up of us and our sister operating companies that you see here. And we really share a common purpose, which is to mobilize the future to create a better world. Some of our real focus areas at Vontier centered around mobility technologies, retail and commercial fueling, fleet management, telematics, vehicle and equipment, diagnostics and maintenance, and the concept of smart cities. Now, Teletrac Navman ourselves, we are a global leader when it comes to telematics, diagnostics, and really fleet management as a whole. But the reason why we're here today is to discuss heavy equipment telematics and really how to standardize data when it is coming from multiple OEM vendors' applications. In the last year, we've started to see a strong uptick in requests for information in the construction, agriculture, and equipment rental verticals, just pertaining to heavy equipment telematics and how we can provide value. And that's really why we're here today. A lot of the OEM vendors you're buying machinery from, including CAT, John Deere, Komatsu, they've recently started offering these telematics packages that come with the purchase of a new piece of heavy machinery. The terms may vary, but it's definitely not a trend that we see slowing down anytime soon. And what this means is siloed data from a lot of different sources for most businesses. Today, what we're planning on discussing is just some of the more common questions that we receive on this topic, really when it comes to getting the maximum value out of your telematics data, no matter what the source is. And now, before we really get into the whole presentation and we show you actually our solution and how we're able to do that, I just quickly want to talk about connections. We have a lot of ways to connect pieces of heavy machinery here. We're talking about the OEM stuff, obviously, and that's a driving force of today's webinar. We do have 37 OEM data feeds out of the box. Some of the bigger names are listed here, but just want to give you an idea of the type of organizations that we do partner with to receive their data off their canvas. Now, if you don't have an OEM telematics solution, which most folks we deal with do not, you might have some older equipment that didn't come with it. We're completely able to handle that for you. We can connect in multiple ways via J1939, 1708. We have devices for a standard 3-wire connection between your ground, ignition, and power. And then if you just have light-duty vehicles, something that we could definitely do as well with OBD2 connections. And then if you're just really looking for location data, trip data, we can do that with solar powered asset trackers and with battery powered asset trackers that we provide. Now, I know the last thing anybody wants to do here is sit here and look at these slides all day. So I am going to go ahead and pass the ball over to Danny here and let's jump into our main topic, which is really, how do I view and report on this telematics data that's siloed coming from multiple sources. So that said, Danny, I'll let you go ahead and take it from there.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. Can you see my screen okay, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you. So as Matt mentioned, we're going to talk today a lot about what we do with bringing information in from the field. And that's really step one of the process. And as we get into our software and as we get into showing you how this functions, we're only limited by what our companies that we work with limit us with. So for instance, it isn't just bringing that data in from the field, it's taking that information from the hub that we build you here in our Qtanium Connect software, but putting that back into your ERP or your CRM, and we'll talk more about that as we get into our software today. So where do we start? Well, we start with where you have your telematics now. As Matt mentioned, we'll have a black box and we're happy to track your equipment and track your vehicle, track your assets. And when we look at the kind of things we track in our system, it is that equipment list, on-road and off-road. It is your assets in your field, things that are powered and non-powered. It are all the attachments that are laying around your yard. It's all about lighting systems and fuel systems and tires and materials. When we talk about asset management as a whole, we're not just talking about that John Deere skid steer that's out in the pasture farming. We're also talking about every single thing that either your construction or your agricultural business uses to make itself more successful. So when we think about tracking our assets, we want to think about anything. But what we're going to do is you'll see our equipment list here. And again, we can go through and look at assets and attachments, anything else today. But really what we're looking at is how do we pull it from John Deere or Volvo or Komatsu or Caterpillar? And you can see we're actively tracking those units right now. We have them broken down by the different job sites they're on, because as we get into our equipment groupings today, we want to make sure that we understand where the data comes from, how we interpret that data, and then where it goes. So what does that mean for you? So now the first thing we've done it, we've connected all of your equipment in one view. You have everything in one place so that you can make decisions daily. Let's look at an individual piece of equipment. Anything from the telemetry of that equipment to its attachments and components to tracking every drop of fuel you use. And do you use bulk fueling on site? Do you do it by manual purchases from your employees? Do you use to integrate your fuel cards? All of that is available in Qtanium Connect right now. So that again, we're not just tracking where the equipment is, but how is it working? What does your production look like? What does your utilization look like? What is every dollar we spend in the field to make sure that we're tracking how we can be most efficient when we're getting to work every day? And it isn't just that utilization either, right? It's also maintenance. So we're going to have a full PM schedule built for every piece of equipment with a full timeline showing every time a service has been completed over the entire life of that piece of equipment or vehicle. And you can see here as we build out our time chart and show that, and we'll see every one that's due, every interval that's open, and every one that's ever been completed. So again, maintenance starts with how do we work our preventative maintenance, and our system does that from pillar to post. Second, what's the next thing we do? Well, we need to inspect that equipment every day. We need to inspect those vehicles when they're in the field. And our inspections tab will keep track of every single inspection that happens of any piece of equipment that you look at. And you can see here, as we go into an inspection, you can see what's okay, what's not okay, what needs to be done. And our system then does the next step for you, which is automate this workflow. So we finished that inspection in the field after we've completed our PM, and we notice, hey, there's something wrong with the tires or tracks on this piece of equipment, and we need someone to go out there and look at it. So instead of it being a piece of paper that someone files 3 weeks later and you have a piece of equipment down on a job site, it's going to auto-create that work. And the work order is something that you can use one of two ways. Either one, you're going to use the work ordering in our system, and you're going to go in and you're going to assign it to a mechanic, or you're going to make it an external and sign it to a vendor. All of that can be done. And once we look at this inspection, we can go down and see every PM that's capable, everything that's come up on it, and we can assign PM tasks, or we can assign field tasks, or we can assign to move the equipment because it needs to go from the job site to the field. All of that can be automated with the workflow in the system. We can automatically set the priority of where we want to get this. Hey, this is critical to our job site. It's an emergency. Let's get this done as quickly as possible. Right? Then we can also set the status automatically from there. We can show the job site it's on. We can show the status of the work order. All of this can be built in and built your workflow to be used here in our Qtanium Connect system. But what makes us so powerful when we're dealing with other companies in the field is this. We can also take this same data and integrate it where you need it to go. So if you have a current maintenance system and what you're lacking is, how do I get my hour meter? How do I get my odometer? How do I bring in my inspections for my field workers? Teletrack Navman can make that happen also. So we're able to take this same data and flow it through to whatever system you're using on the back end. We're an exclusive partner with Viewpoint as an example. And so we're able to take all of this same information that we have from the field, that we have pulled from our equipment, and automate that into Viewpoint for you. So no longer will you be making decisions on utilization and availability based on making phone calls. You'll know immediately when you log into our system what's available, what's not available, and where it needs to go next. And all that can be done from our website or from the mobile device, which we will get to in just a minute. All right, so we're in our piece of equipment. We have already talked about how we handle maintenance, how we handle inspections, how we handle work orders. And these inspections are not things that are just built into our system that you use. Every single customer gets their own custom and configurable inspection. And when you build that inspection, we tell it a few things. We tell it what equipment it can be used on. Where does the workflow go if there's something that happens on that piece of equipment in the field? Does it need to flow to a shop supervisor, to a job site supervisor, to both? Are pictures required? Are videos required? Are audio files required? Those are all things that we build in configurable for every single customer on every single inspection that we build for them. And we'll talk more a little bit about how we do that and how we implement that at Teletrac Navman. So we've kind of covered the inspections, we've covered your maintenance. What are some other things that Teletrac Navman can either bring in, integrate, or have listed in our systems that you can keep up with? For instance, warranty information. Every time that mechanic goes out to that piece of equipment, he's received his work order, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to check the fluid analysis for over the last year to see if that's telling us anything of why this breakdown may have happened. He's going to check the warranty information to make sure it's something that's not under warranty. So we know, hey, let's get this to the CAT dealer, let's get this to our Volvo dealer so that we don't do work that's not required, and it's here. Costing information. Every single dollar you spend in cost from those work orders will get added to our costing information. And you can see here, every piece of equipment has a reliability score built into it. So at the end of the year, you know top to bottom, every piece of equipment in your fleet and exactly how reliable it's that year based on the amount of downtime it's had and the amount of number of repairs outside of PMs that it's had. And it helps you really understand the health of your entire fleet without having to go dig for that information. So our mechanic's out there, he's seen the warranty information. He maybe checked the attributes of that particular piece of equipment. Are there specific tires it needs? Are there specific parts it needs? All of that can be tied to an equipment in our system. We want to keep track of that financial information, right? Is it leased? Is it rented? Is it owned? Where does that come in? And how much have we spent on it? Because that enables you to make actionable decisions, whether you're in the office or in the field. Of course, we're going to help you keep up with things like tire pressure monitoring and safety incidents. We're going to build you custom events for every single data point in our system. So we may be looking at deciding what fault codes are we bringing in from this piece of equipment. Whether you're connected with our hardware device or whether you're connected to an OEM device, we're going to be able to bring in the fault codes of that equipment and then decide how that alert structure is going to work through our events tab. So what this may say, hey, when a certain piece of equipment has a fault code, it's going to go to this job site supervisor, again, the shop supervisor, or it can be added to a report that we get weekly. All of this is available through all of our custom reporting and alerting built in our system. We have hundreds of custom reports, and every single report is customizable by column, shape, and data size so that you can go in and set these and schedule them based on the information that your company needs. So we've walked through our fault codes. We can see maps. We can upload custom photos. Our system will automatically pull the category and class of this piece of equipment when we're connected to it and have a photo that's assigned to it so that you always know what you're looking for off-site. You've got a particular piece of equipment and we've received our work order, we've received that PM, and we want to know what's the closest fueling truck. We can look for the closest fueling truck by telemetry. What's the closest service truck because we need to dispatch somebody. It's available immediately from our system. Whether you're on the mobile app or here in the system, you can route yourself directly to that. We can get alerts on payload. We can replay the information from that day. Whenever you're in a piece of equipment, you'll be able to see exactly where it is, exactly what it's doing, where it's been, through any time frame that you're looking for. So I can see how it worked this week, over the last 2 weeks, or over the last month. All of that will be built into telemetry for you. And that's really what we're talking about again. And we stress this a lot when we talk to our customers is how can we put all the information that you need to run your business in one place? How can we, again, give you one view of that equipment to make sure that you have the things you need to get things done quicker? And the good news is if we do our jobs right, if we implement you correctly and support you correctly and our professional services sets up your system correctly, you're not having to come in here every day and do this kind of work. You're able to get automated alerts from everything that we do so that you don't have to worry about where do I find the information. Whenever we implement new software, we hear the same thing from our customers over and over again. I know what your system does, and I know that I need it, but how do I find it? Well, that starts with us with our dashboard. And you'll come over here and you'll see that we have multiple dashboards built out. PM dashboards, job dashboards, light tower, equipment dashboards, whatever you may need. Not only do we have those with individual widgets on every single dashboard, we'll build you a company overview dashboard so that you have a place for people to go to get critical information that the company deems important. And also we'll build you a My Dashboard. And my dashboard is user-based. So no matter what information you need from an individual dashboard, you can build it into a personalized user-based dashboard. So someone on site who's tracking materials and need to know how much material we moved that day by tonnage, we can give you that information. You've got someone in the field and you want to know how many cycles they've gone working in a field, we're able to give you that information also. And when we click on these equipment dashboards, you can see we base it off a lot of information we've already set. Now, right now, I just have a few turned on, 3 or 4 places that we can gather information. But you'll see here, it's really good information. So let's start here with our equipment utilization by job site. The very first thing we always get asked is, when my vehicles and equipment are working, how do I designate those working hours to a particular job, to a particular job site, to a particular work site, to a particular farm? And that's done very easily here. We're going to geofence or geolocate all of your job sites. We're going to be able to see over a 7, 15, 30-day span, 90-day span, whatever kind of time range you're looking for, and give you individually each piece of equipment and how much it's working there. And these are dynamic dashboards that are constantly updating themselves. You can click on each one of these and it'll automatically bring up the report that goes with it that you can export to Excel. Again, if I'm doing my job right, I'm either automating these reports or building into a visual dashboard so you can go find it. I'm not looking for your employees to have to go pull the report, get the information they need, hope they remember where it is, email it to somebody. These dashboards are available right here so they can go quickly get the information. So no matter what job site you want to look at, we can break this down for you. And of course, we can build in, if you want to compare job site to job site, we have those kind of reporting also. So it isn't just, we want to get as close and focused to that job site as we can, and also give you the 500 feet view of that job, of all your job sites. And we can do that in our system. Another way that we get really efficient with how we track utilization and production for our customers is utilization by business group, by group in your system. So you may have a group, you may have an excavating group that works at multiple job sites. So it's not pulling it by job sites, not going to really give you that information. So we're going to break you down into groups and subgroups to be able to show you how it works that way. So if I want to know what my excavating group has done over the last 30 days, and based on an expected utilization from them, I can have that immediately shown here in as many groups as you'd like us to build. Our professional services comes in and sets up your fleet in a way that this is pre-built for you before you install hardware piece number 1. So we've tracked our utilization by job site. We tracked our utilization by business group. It's also very important to track utilization by category and class of equipment, because we have different job sites. We have excavating groups that go to those different job sites, but we also have excavators that work on site and for our excavating group. So I need to see what my utilization look like. Why is that important in the real world? Well, every one of us has gotten this phone call. Hey, I need a skid steer at this job site or I'm not going to get the job completed on time. This will let you know immediately under your skid steers, under your jump dumps, under your X's, how exactly is working the less and who exactly is working the most, because maybe we need to move from job site to job site. It's going to help you greatly reduce equipment hoarding, because people aren't going to be able to hide their utilization and leave that excavator on the back lot. Hopefully you don't see it, because we're doing one of two things. One, driving efficiency for that job site, but even more importantly, we're trying to reduce those rental rates, because the next question always is, how do I get one? Can you rent me one? Can you get one out here tomorrow? Can you call United Rentals? Can you call Herc and get them on site with an excavator as soon as possible? Well, the good news is you'll know, first of all, if it's in your fleet, and then if you need to go to United Rentals or if you need to go to Herc, that piece of equipment will automatically flow into Cutanium Connect also. We'll be able to get that rental information from your rental provider, put it into our system. So when we talk about full visibility of your fleet, one view of your fleet, it won't just be the ones you own or lease, it'll also be the ones you rent. So while it's on rent for you, it will show up in your system. It will give you the same job site information that we're pulling on all your other equipment. When it goes off rent, it will automatically be pulled out. So now, instead of somebody making a phone call and asking where their excavator is or where their skid steer is, they will be able to come into our system and immediately pull an equipment request, send that to you digitally. It'll immediately alert that equipment manager to say, hey, we need a job site 1, 2, 3. We need to get an excavator out there. Within minutes, they'll know the full job management, right, from our system, know where everything is utilized, when it next needs to be utilized from the next job site, and be able to make quick decisions. It will drive down equipment hoarding, it will drive down your rental, and it will drive down your cost overall in the year. And that's how we use our equipment utilization tabs here to be able to get you that data. So I have spent 10 minutes talking about one tab in one dashboard and one way we use it. And it's the kind of thing that how deep our product is and how deep it's able to hit all the parts in your organization. So let's talk through some of the other applications that are available in Continuum Connect, because I think this is important to know what our system does for you. We have customers that use all of these features. We have some customers that just use a few of these features. And we can customize this website so that when that user logs in, and you have unlimited users in our system, they will only see the applications you want them to see. So when they log in, if you only want them to see the equipment list and none of the attachments or assets, that's fine, that's what they'll see. If you only want them to see the equipment dashboard and none of the others, they'll see that also. And when they get to applications, they can focus in on exactly what they need to be successful. So let's start here and run down a few of the things we do. So you'll see here at the very top is conversation. We can build like a work board for everybody in your company to be able to see kind of what needs to be done today, what's popping up today, all of that's in here. We have dispatch or e-ticketing where we can get the right people to the right job at the right time with the right information and make all of that digital. We have equipment moves. We've talked about this a little bit. I need to get equipment from job 1 to job 2. I'm going to use my haul truck and move it from job 1 to job 2. Not only will you get notifications when it gets there, you will be able to track that piece of equipment en route, and it will automatically status that piece of equipment when you get there. So that when you go back to your equipment list, we can build automatic statuses into this so that you can use it to be able to visually see what's down for maintenance, right? What's available, what's on rent, all those statuses are available in our system. So once we get past equipment moves, we've already talked a little bit about equipment requests, right? Somebody's in the field and needs something, no more phone calls need to be made. We can do an equipment request and automated that into an equipment move and get it out there within minutes instead of having waiting days. We've talked about custom events. How can we build those custom events and to alert you the information, the critical few things you need to know every day? Field tasks. Or is there something that's maybe not on a work order? For instance, a field task may be a safety inspection of a job site, and we can do that for you in our system. We've already talked a little bit about fueling. How do we import your transactions? How do we automatically integrate your fuel transactions? How do we track your equipment fueling from your tanks on site, from your fuel trucks on site? We can do all of that in our system so that never again we have to worry about where fuel goes and when. Is a tank level getting too low? We can automatically alert you to get it filled. All of that's available in our system today. Along with custom inspections, tracking of all your inventory, job management, what equipment is being used where and where does it go next so that you always know exactly where to go and when. Full PM and preventative maintenance modules, purchase orders, a rental system. If you decide you want to rent equipment to someone else or bring rentals in, we can track both of those ends of the spectrum for you. We're going to track safety incidents, timesheets, work orders. All of those are available in our system today so that you can go in and find that piece of equipment, get the information you need, and then by rote, by integration, get it back into your system. Because if we're doing our job right, you touch our system less, not more than you're doing now. And that's really important. Now, those are the applications that we have built into the system. The next step is locations. How do we build job sites and regions and shops and vendors? All of those will be uploaded by our professional services team into your system so that you can get information directly from those job sites. We know multiple job sites may report to a region, whatever kind of structure you need to make it work, we can do that for you. We've already talked a good bit about reporting. How do we schedule reports? How do we make sure that you get the right information? And we have hundreds of reports that are built into our system already that you can use from day one. And our customers are all the time helping us with custom reports for them so that we can make their business better. All right, finally, in the admin section, we'll touch this, but what do we need? Do we need to bulk update equipment for you? Do we need to add multiple users? Do we need to build some users who can see some things in some equipment? Of course, we can do all of that for you from day one, right? What master data do you want to keep? Everything can be uploaded. If you have a full maintenance system now and move to Telecheck Navman and Continuum Connect, we can bulk upload all your old information into our system so you lose nothing. And we can be the repository for all your information. All of that is built in the system and available from day one. When we're here on our homepage and we're looking at our map, we can break down our search options by telematic providers, by certain classes of equipment. So if I know that I need to look where my dozers are, I can go find my dozers in the system and see where they are on the map. All of that is available from day one, customizable and available to use. So we've talked a lot about how we automate your data in our system, and we've talked a lot about how we integrate from all the OEM providers and bring in the data from our black boxes. The final piece that makes us really successful with our clients is being able to get that same information from our field workers. And what you're looking at now is my mobile device. And on my mobile device, I'm able to go in and I'm able to get that same rich information that we get from equipment, from our people. Because when we talk about asset management, our number one asset in the construction industry is the people doing the work. So when you log in as a user at the beginning of the day, you'll be able to see on your dashboard here, what are the things that you need to accomplish? No more we have to check into the office, not know where you're supposed to go next. You'll see that I have PMs to complete, I have timesheets to approve, and I have work orders that I need to get to immediately. So I can click any one of these, go into that module, and see exactly what I need to do. Now, our mobile device is just like our website. So we're going to make sure that when your user logs in, he or she sees only what they need. So we want to see assets and equipments and attachments. That's great. They can see only equipment. And then you can see all those applications we talked about, dispatch and equipment request, equipment moves. We have the same visibility of all of your information here on the mobile device, just like you would see it in the website. And that's a huge deal for our customers because no longer are we tethered to a desk to get information. It's all right here in front of you, no matter where you are. Android, Apple, doesn't matter to us. So let's start at the very beginning. I'm in the field and I want to hit my equipment list. And it's going to go in and automatically load this equipment list, right? And I'm going to be able to go through, find the information, pick any piece of equipment that I want to. I can locate it. I can route myself directly there. All of that's available right from the system. And when I click on it, I can go and I can either scan a QR code or barcode that's on my equipment and automatically pull it up. I can type in the information. I can go see that same piece of John Deere equipment that we were looking at earlier. And there's the same picture that you're used to seeing. You can see what status is. I can change my status directly here from the site. Hey, it's in breakdown mode and I need to save it. I can start an inspection right from here, and we'll do that in just a minute. But in those tabs, in that website, when we saw things like fault codes and fluid analysis and field tasks and inspections, I can click on that and I can see every inspection that's ever been completed, just like I can from the website. When your mechanic gets to a piece of equipment, he will know everything that's happened there. When your foreman on the job site wants to know utilization for equipment that he's working on today, he'll be able to immediately get that information. All of that's available. Every inspection plan that's been completed, all the actionable inspections where things have went wrong and we need to make sure that we clear those up, those are here in our system. Every completed inspection. So every inspection that's ever been done is available here on the website. So this is really good information to be able to have at your fingertips. And that's what makes it so valuable for us. And you can see here, we go back and we go back to the details and back to that piece of equipment. And now that I've viewed what's happened before, I can start my inspection, right? And I can click that inspection that's been automatically assigned to that piece of equipment. And now here are the things that I can get done on that piece of equipment as we're talking. And this particular equipment inspection is to check the hydraulic lines. And you can see here, hey, it's a high priority event. I need this to automatically alert the back office if there's something wrong with the hydraulic lines. We can do check boxes. We can do drop downs, just like you see here. Hey, it's only half full. The engine oil is only half full. I can check my transmission oil. I can check for damage. I can say whether the check indicators are working. I'm going to attach a signature here at the bottom. I can either take a picture, take a video, select a file that I already have on my device, and I can submit this one. Now, you can see here that I have committed an error. And the error is telling me that I didn't enter valid detail that I needed. Remember, these are customizable inspections. So it will not let your field guys finish these, right, without filling in the proper information. And so here we are with the information filled in. I can check for damage and I can say none, and I can actually fill this out like I was supposed to do the first time, right? And all the information's in there for you. And this time I can hit submit if I need to and be done with it. So we're able to go in, we're able to complete inspections by piece of equipment, just like we have, and see the inspections that are specifically assigned to that piece of equipment. I can also go do the same thing where I can choose my inspection list. I can select whatever template I want to, and then choose from the hundreds of custom templates that will give you from the beginning, or create your own custom template. So it's always easy to kind of understand a DVIR, right? Because we know that we have people that need to inspect their vehicles, inspect your equipment, whatever it may be, and we can select it. I can go in and choose my piece of equipment just like I did last time and say, here's the piece of equipment that I need to start. It will tell me the last time I completed an inspection, and it will let me start that inspection. It will load any previous defects if there were any the last time we did it. And just like with anything else, we can say everything goes well, everything is poor, and warning, natural, normal warning. All of it's built into the system here. And we can say, hey, the drive line is a problem. And then when I'm done viewing it, I can again signature and submit this particular inspection. So to wrap this part up, we're able to go in, we're able to view every piece of equipment from our site. We're able to go and inspect that piece of equipment, see what work orders are on it. Everything we need to know is there. And then when it's time to go find that piece of equipment, just like we've done anywhere else, you can pull that piece of equipment up and route yourself directly there. So I can hit the little map button and I can route myself to that piece of equipment by location. And there we go. It's going to tell me exactly how to get there. And I've got a 14-hour drive to get my work done today. So as we come through and as we're using our site and as we're using our equipment in the field, it's really important for us to be able to not only see what has happened on that equipment, but then tell our office, tell our work what needs to be done. So if we want to go fuel that same piece of equipment, now remember, we can integrate this fuel data or we can fuel it directly from our site, but we may need to tell that we need to scan our piece of equipment or enter that piece of equipment in, and we can go in and do our fueling, right? And we can say what pump, we can view the last 10 transactions that I put into this piece of equipment. I can scan what pump or what tank it's coming out of, right? And be able to show you and tell you what it is. Or if I choose a tank instead, once I take the 80 gallons out of this tank to put into my piece of equipment, it will let me know that that tank level is below 50% and we need to send to refuel. We need to order fuel for that tank. So it's doing more than just capturing this information on the individual piece of equipment. It's also telling us exactly what we need to know about where that fuel is coming from. We're going to be able to get meter readings. You're going to be able to do those equipment requests we talk about. We're going to be able to look at any fault codes that have happened. We're going to check inventory. We're going to look at your tasks for the day. We can set up a My Day for all your employees so they can say and do what they've done that day. We can create timesheets for them. We can go in and check the PMs that are due, work orders. So when I started my day, we looked at that dashboard and I could show you the work orders that I have to go work on today. You can create work orders from our system and push them to the field, or you can start those work orders in the field and I can go to view that work order, right? And here's the work order. I can add tasks to this work order. I can add parts, I can add time entries, I can look at the warranties. Or if I'm in the work order system, I can add a work order and from the field, I can create a blank work order or use one of the custom work order templates that we have built. But you can see here, what equipment am I working on? What needs to be done? What's the description? What's the priority level, right? All this stuff can be built in. So whether you're pushing data from the field to the office or the office from the field, it's the same thing. And that's what makes the system so flexible and available. All right. Final last three things we want to talk about here. We have job site information. We can add QR codes or link QR codes, RFID or barcodes from a piece of equipment so you can identify them easily. And they have full access to change their passwords, seek information. All of it's available from the mobile device. No longer will anyone have to go into the office to do anything. All right. So we have gone in, we have created this inspection. We have gone out, we've created our work order, we've created our PM. That's all available here in the system. And then finally, we come back to our system again. We go back to our piece of equipment and it's all real-time information. So anything I submit for inspection, anything for a work order, anything PM that's been completed will automatically be pushed back in the system. And if they're in an area with no cell coverage, all of our apps and everything can have store and forward, which means that if next time they hit cell coverage, it'll send this information. So Matt, we've kind of walked everybody here today through a day in the life. How do you use our system, right? How do you make sure you go in and get the information you need? How do we integrate data from the back office to our system, from the system to the field, and then all the way loop back around? They can get information from their rented equipment, from their owned equipment, from their leased equipment, right? We've talked about how we're utilizing things in the most optimal way fashion. We've talked about preventative maintenance. We've reduced their fuel consumption by looking at production and making sure that we track every drop of fuel they have, right? Anything else that you would like me to cover today? Are there any questions or anything that I can talk about before we finish?
I think maybe some key points that typically come to me in the form of questions. Just what are the typical data elements that you are pulling off the OEM solutions?
That's a great question, and thank you. So when we're looking at what we pull off OEM, we're really starting with the A&P feed, right? What fluids are we being used? How fuel? What's our tank level? What are fault codes? What information can we get from that engine to make things more actionable? Whether using our device or the OEM device, we're able to go grab all that good, rich A&P data and bring it into the system.
Fantastic. And one other one, just because we brought it up earlier, and I feel like everybody out there right now is well aware of the different supply chain constraints that have hit the market, and that definitely has hit a lot of the heavy equipment market as well. So what I've personally seen a lot of my clients going out and doing is renting a lot of their own equipment in certain scenarios if they found that utilization level isn't exactly where they need it. So in that sense, one of the main questions I received is, how can my clients actually access this information if they are renting equipment from me?
Sure, that's good. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that your rented equipment looks exactly the same as any other piece of equipment, whether you're renting it out to someone else, and we can create customer portals if you're renting to your customers, if you're renting from someone, we're going to make that data and seamlessly integrate it into our system. So it will look like the rest of your fleet as long as you have it on rent.
Oh, fantastic. And I think at this point, Danny, I think just like you said, we've been able to essentially provide a day in the life, if you will, when it comes to heavy equipment management and what to do with the telematics data that comes from it. At this time, I think it would probably be a good idea to open up for any sort of Q&A. If any of our attendees would have any questions they've seen here today. I mean, like I said, at the end of this, we're definitely going to be sending out a recording and all of our contact information if you do want to reach out to us directly. One thing that we are very happy to do would be set up more of a detailed demonstration where we could actually use your data. Right. So if you had something that's coming off JD Link or something that's coming off Cat Connect or something from contracts, we could actually bring that in and essentially give you access to the solution to get your hands on it in real time, see how to use it without having to jump through a lot of hoops to put equipment on anything to really run a traditional type of pilot or demo. So just something that we wanted to throw out there. But I will go ahead and keep an eye out for any questions that come up here momentarily. So wait a couple minutes. Okay. All right, actually, we have the first one that came in. So I bought a lot of software in the past that was never used. This is something I hear quite a bit. In the software industry in general, I think that's a question that we all receive. If I'm buying a software solution from you, I mean, how are you going to ensure that I'm going to get the true value out of it? That's what I'm assuming this question is.
Yeah, Teletrac Navigation's approach to that is a pretty good one, I think. So you have detailed project management the entire time you're a client of Teletrac Navigation. So what does that mean? Our professional services comes in the beginning and implements your system. We've touched on this just a little bit. But so you have guided implementation for everything you do. We make sure that your OEMs are coming into our system. We make sure everything gets installed. We make sure that we train you, whether it be on-site or virtual, whatever your company requires, to make sure you know how to use our system correctly. We help you build out the integrations. We help you build out your workflow. All of that guided project management is included for every customer that does business with us. Secondly, most importantly, your customer success manager is assigned to an account permanently after that, which means that project management never goes anywhere. There's a lot of software everybody's bought in the past where you get good service for about 30 days and then it kind of goes away. And Teletrac Navman guided project management is available the entire lifespan of your country.
Good deal. Next question just came across. Does the system have full capabilities for vehicles as well as equipment?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course, we're going to track your own road. We spent a lot of time today talking about equipment because it's a little more complicated to get that information in to be able to integrate all the different data points. But anything you need, whether it comes from ELD with construction regs to ag regs to just tracking your local pickup trucks, all of that's going to be available to be accomplished. Because when we look at health of fleet, it is going to be on-road and off-road. So we're going to make sure we handle all of those for you.
Okay. I think this looks like it's our last question right now, but it's a good one. Do you also have dash cams?
Yes. Yeah. So nothing sells quicker than dash cams today. Talking about a safety program for your fleet, and that's how we kind of conceptualize how we use dash cams, whether you want it to be facing the driver, whether you want it to be facing the road, whether you want to be facing both, up and down the sides of your vehicles and equipment, over the back and storage areas, all that's available today within our system. And not only do we have dash cams, Matt, but we have really good AI dash cams. So it's going to automatically give you the information. So again, you can manage your fleet of your drivers, make sure they're safe every day, and give you automatic generated coaching sessions so that they and you can make sure the drivers not only see what they're doing, but get better every single day they're on the road.
Great. And of course, I said that was the last question. We did have one more come in. Do you have a training portal or academy, which I think training is a great subject?
Yeah, so of course, everything we do has automated training. So you can click a button on our website to get automatic chat with someone. We have training videos and training built into everything that you do with us. We build custom training videos and for all of our customers also, because not only do we want to train you on how to use the system, we want to train you how to use your system. So we'll help you build all of that out and make that part of our project management.
Okay, and they are continuing to come in here. So what's the typical implementation time frame? And please include the learning curve time frame.
Oh, yeah. No, good. That's a really good question too, and I probably should have touched on this already. Like any good piece of software, we're going to implement it at the speed the customer allows us. So what's the availability to do installations? But putting all that aside, we feel very comfortable that you'll be up and running between 60 and 90 days. Our average implementation time is 64 days for our construction and ag customers. So you can expect something like that. We make the joke all the time, you get 90% done in the first 60 days and the next 10% takes forever. But that's the kind of approach that we take, that we're never fully implemented because we're always going to be there, because you're always going to want new features, new sources of information. But typically between 60 and 90 days, you'll be fully implemented, using and trained on our system.
Okay. What about PTO monitoring?
Sure, yeah, we can connect to anything on that piece of equipment. We'll wire in PTOs for you on construction equipment. So if you've got a crane and you want to know when it's working or when it's just idling, when we looked at that equipment dashboard, Matt, that's a good representation of work versus idle. So we're able to grab and see the difference between a piece of equipment just sitting there and actually being productive. So we always are looking to PTO to get more information from that equipment that the CAN bus doesn't tell us.
And I know we did cover a little bit about attachments in general, but do we have the ability to track small non-powered assets like tools or saws?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the QR code, RFID, barcodes, we can track and at least give you location of when they're scanned, right? So we know this particular tool was on this job site assigned to truck number 1. And when you get into a piece of equipment, we do a pretty good job of building that kind of parent-child relationship between attachments and the equipment in the field. So absolutely, we can do that for you and help you with it.
All right, good deal. I think this might be the last one now. Can we integrate with our existing ERP TMS system?
Yes. Short answer, yes, Matt. We've yet to have any issue. We're full integration partners with Viewpoint, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, JDE. We have dozens of accounting softwares that we're currently integrated with. And even if you have a custom portal that you use now, something that you have built instead of bought, we're happy to do that integration work for you. Again, that's part of our software as a service program here at Teletrac. That was a good question.
Good deal. I think that about wraps it up on the Q&A side of things from what I've seen here so far. So I think that was some great information. But like we said, this will be recorded, and it has been recorded, and we will be sending it out here shortly. There will be contact information on that email for you to reach out directly to myself or to Danny with any other questions you might have. And like I said, we would love the opportunity to use your own data to really show you what a day in the life would look like using your own data in our system. So with that, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up here today. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time. And with that, I think we can go ahead and close it out.
Thank you, Matt. Have a great day, buddy. Thank you, everyone, for joining.